Hello and welcome to FPL Expectations, our first episode of the 21-22 season. We're just less than a week away from the FPL game restarting. And yes, it's been a hectic summer. We've had the Euros, we've had the Olympics, but now it's time to turn our attention to the Premier League, which is what we're all here for. And I'm obviously not the only one in the studio. I've got the boys with me. Sophie, it's been a while. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm good. Mostly spending my time at home because we are still in a lockdown. The third time we have been in a lockdown. So hopefully things will get better for us in Malaysia.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you the question which everyone is dying to know. Where have you been?
Oh my God. It's a long story.
Do we have to...
I had we had a baby last year in December, and then I've been not really struggling, but trying my best to adapt throughout this fatherhood. And then of course my work, I supposed to start my next project already somewhere around June. But then things got really messy with all this lockdown and everything.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay.
Family, work, everything.
Okay, we're really glad to have you back on the show anyway. And
Thank you.
as always, we're here if you ever need to talk.
I will do my best to stick with you guys throughout the season.
That'll be great. And as always, we have our regular Joe. Joe, it's been a while. We haven't seen you for a few months, but as always, we're happy to be back on the show.
Joe, what happened to you? You look younger.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mind to share any skincare routine?
No, I think it's a camera.
He upgraded his webcam. That's what it is.
Special effects going on.
I mean, it's good to be back. Good to have FPL back. I think it is it's a good sort of a good distraction for us in Malaysia with all this, all the chaos that has been happening lately. Yes, we hope that things will improve, but I think FPL would take our minds off at least sometime each week. So yeah, happy that it's back and good to be back.
Yes, as always, we're really glad to have you back on the show. And obviously, during the summer transfer window, us at FPL Expectations have been very busy. It's not only for the big clubs, it involves us as well. And we've gone and we've strengthened the FPL Expectations squad. And we've signed Prab from FPL Sings to come on the show with us for this season. Prab, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you? How's everyone? I'm glad everyone's doing great too. Still in lockdown, like everyone said, but glad to be part of the team. Glad to have FPL back. The season's just a week away now, and yeah, just thrilled to be honest.
Yeah, less than a week away till that first game of the season. We're definitely going to look towards that and build towards that as the days come. But, Prab, we're really happy to have you on and part of the FPL Expectations team. So let's get it started. Let's talk about yesterday's fixture. What can we say is the preview, shall we say, to the Premier League season. It was a Charity Shield or Community Shield, as it's called now, between Manchester City and Leicester. And boys, a few surprises before the game even kicked off. We saw Pep and Man City field a couple of youngsters. We saw Leicester probably not fielding their strongest team either. But Sophie, I'm going to come to you. Jack Grealish signed for Man City. He's going to be a big player for them this season, no doubt, for the kind of money that they paid for him. But what did you make of how City lined up?
I think based on yesterday's performance, I think we can't get much into it because he just played for about 15 minutes, I think, or less than that. But
you're talking about Grealish.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25 minutes.
25, okay. So most of the time he still spent at his familiar position. So I think I read somewhere about he might adapt to attacking midfielder role more central, but let's see about that. I can be sure of that. I'm not going to bring him in my team. I just put him on my watch list.
Okay, Joe. Okay, we've kind of touched on Grealish, but there's still. I mean, it's Pep Guardiola, it's Man City, it's Pep Roulette all over again. You know, the options that he has at his disposal. I mean, that was the squad that he had out last night, but we haven't even touched on the players that were playing in the Euros, like Raheem Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne. There's still so much quality to come back. Carl Walker's another one. Zinchenko wasn't there.
Foden's
what a sight.
Phil Foden's out still.
Phil Foden, yeah, he's got a bit of an injury. Who's going to play for City come the first game week of the season?
I can't see Pep, lining up the same team game week 1, definitely. He was so pissed at the team's performance that he got himself a yellow card at halftime. So I probably see Grealish will probably start because since they miss out so many people, it's just I would think that they might still struggle at the start with the main star still out. Whether any of I think Phil Foden definitely can't make it. KDB and Sterling, not sure. But I would think they might struggle, especially against Spurs at game week 1. So, for me, wait and see. I'm still keeping away from City. I mean, even with a full squad, they are all. It's a huge landmine. But sort of like a half strength or 75% strength squad, I think is even more of a landmine because you don't know how they will perform. So yeah, I mean, and then I would assume that any signings they make from now until the deadline will definitely miss game week 1. So yeah, I mean, it's a wait and see for me.
You're talking about Harry Kane?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to come to that topic with Prob. Prob, there's obviously a massive hole to fill in up front. I mean, Aguero's left. Jack Grealish has obviously taken the 10. But, what Sergio Aguero achieved at Man City, what he did in the Premier League, I mean, it's big boots to fill. But surely there's only one person that can fill those boots. And he's been linked with it, I think, after the match, in the press conference on Friday. Pep, actually, and he doesn't do this very often. He came out and he publicly spoke about Man City and their pursuit of Harry Kane. So, Todd, I mean, Man City have made their intentions clear. They want Harry Kane. Harry Kane, it seems, wants to go to City as well. But they both face each other in the first match of the season. Do you think the transfer will be done before then? Will Harry Kane be wearing a blue jersey come Saturday?
I think it's down to Daniel Levy now because all the rumors surrounding the transfer says that both parties are interested, but there's an intermediary, well-known Daniel Levy, that's standing in the way. I think his position is still the same. That I think Romano has mentioned it before, and a couple of journalists have said that his Tottenham's position is that they do not want to sell, and even Pep mentioned that if they are lenient and open to negotiate, I think something could happen, and I don't think he does that often as well. So that shows how much he wants to pursue that striker position. There was talk about Danny Ings before he secured his transfer to Villa, or other strikers that they could have filled Aguero's boots, filled in inverted commas for obviously, but I think Kane should get his move eventually. I think it'll be between the fee of 100 to 120, maybe even 150 million.
Yeah.
But I think eventually when Harry Kane finally goes back to training and sorts it out with Spurs itself, I think he'll eventually get his move. But I don't think he'll make it in time for game week 1.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to come to, actually. I mean, the guy who filled that position last night was Ferran Torres. Now, Ferran Torres played there for Pep and City last season. Did quite well. I think he scored a hat-trick at Newcastle, if I'm not mistaken. So we know he's got that ability to score goals. I think someone's... I think someone in the background has got some background noise. Can you guys hear it? No?
Yeah, I think somebody's
Yeah.
Miss Fan or something.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys. Where was I? Ferran Torres got a hat-trick last season when he played up front. Decently priced as a midfielder, for this season. Is he someone that comes into your thinking, Prab?
I think with City assets in general, I'm gonna stay away and watch how it goes. But I think, given his position, given the fact that he will play out of position at the start because they don't really have an out-and-out striker that can fill except Gabriel Jesus. But I think Torres could be a shout in the middle of the season or towards the once the season starts, like maybe game week 2 or 3, if they don't sign Harry Kane. But I think I would still be put off a little bit, given I feel that the game week 1 fixture is still, it could be a similar performance to Leicester, given they still need to get some players back.
Okay, Iheanacho scored the winning goal. Came off the bench though for Leicester City. He hasn't featured a lot for Brendan Rodgers during pre-season, despite his explosive form towards the end of last season. Joe, how do you see the situation with Leicester and their assets? I mean, the main ones like Jamie Vardy screams out to us. James Maddison, looked good in the first half yesterday, playing in that 10 role. It was kind of a free role, actually, because you saw him drop deep at times. And then you got Harvey Barnes back from his injury. He looked quite sharp in the first half as well. Which assets did you have your eye on?
Okay, I think if we look at Iheanacho and Patson Daka and Vardy, I mean, if you look at the forward lineups, to me now it's still a landmine. I will avoid. I can see Rodgers, trying to get that combination going. Whether is it Vardy with Iheanacho, or it can be any two of those three, or it can be even a lone striker. Their attack. I mean, their midfield to forward lineup now is so rich that he can afford to tinker around and see what works best. Because fair play to Leicester City yesterday, those new players that came in, I mean those substitute players that came in, they did well. And there was one time Brendan Rodgers even did 4 to 5 changes at one go. So he can afford to do that. So if you ask me, I would stay away from the forwards at the moment. And if you talk about the midfield, the only person that I am comfortable to own from Leicester right now is Harvey Barnes. He's electric. He hit the ground running. It was as if he totally didn't have an injury last season. He struck it off, I think, really well. And I think before even the Community Shield, I think he scored 2 goals, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 at least.
Yeah.
I think he is probably the only player that I'm comfortable owning for Leicester right now.
He comes in at a good price as well, doesn't he? 7 million.
Yeah, I would think that he was priced at 7 million, which is a very, very generous price. It was because he got injured.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine that if he didn't get an injury, then he will probably
injury discount.
Injury discount. he'll probably go on his form until the end of the season, and we'll probably see him at least 7.5 this season.
Yeah.
But at 7 million, and nailed, and I think he has a point to prove. He wants to do well. Finally this season, and hope he gets his chances. Hope he stays fit. But I think he's probably the only player right now for Leicester that I'm comfortable owning right from game week 1.
Okay, Sophie, I'm going to come to you. Amati started at centre back for Leicester. We know they have a few injuries there. Johnny Evans injured, but Fofana as well. Sorry, out until next year it seems, according to Brendan Rodgers. But Amati at 4 million, starting the Community Shield a week before the season. Surely there's something in that, a little bit of value maybe.
Yeah, I think both of me and Shu, we have a 4 million defender in our team, current draft team. We have you still have Omo, you?
Yeah, Omo. We call him Omo.
Okay. So I think in general, I don't see any solid 4 million picks for this season, at least from the start. Even Omo is actually he's a backup centre back last season in the championship until both of their centre backs got injured. And I read somewhere one of them already in training, non-contact training. So maybe he'll get into the team around game week 2, game week 3. I don't know. So back to Amati, I think I can see that Leicester will pursue an additional centre back. I heard the rumours about Ozan Kabak, the one who played for Liverpool last season. So to make it short, I wouldn't go there. I do have a 4 million defender in my team, but then it's probably for a short period of time just to have some buffer of money in the bank.
Yeah.
So yeah, perhaps don't go near any 4 million midfielder unless you are really certain. Defender, yeah, sorry. Defender. There's no 4 million midfielder, is it?
I think just on that note, with in terms of Amati, I think we got to remember there was Benkovic on the bench as well, and he's a natural centre back.
Even Ndidi can play centre back, right?
Ndidi can as well, yeah.
He did play, I think, a couple of games. Centre back last season.
I think he did. So, but we know
as well. They signed Somare as well, who can fill Ndidi's position in the midfield. So I wouldn't be surprised that Ndidi fills in at the back. In the meantime, they sign a centre back. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, guys. To sign this Community Shield topic off, I'm going to ask you boys for 2 picks from the match yesterday. Who you feel that kind of stuck out to you, and you maybe putting on your watch list, or maybe even including them in your game week 1 team. Probably start with you.
Right. I would go a bit rogue because I think the both of them would go with Harvey Barnes. So I would say Gundogan looked pretty good. I think he's being underlooked this season because of his price, of course. But he looked lively. He was getting into the box as well.
Sorry, I mean you said because of his price, but would that also be because of the addition of Jack Grealish as well?
Sure. I think it depends. How Pep wants to utilize Jack Grealish, whether it be fitting him into the midfield with KDB, or whether he's going to use him off the left.
Yeah.
So I think Gundogan could be a mainstay for quite some time, but we never know with Pep. But for that's my first pick. I think for the second one, I liked Daka. If Wadi gets injured, I think Daka would be a great shout.
Yeah.
If Jamie Vardy has that injury per season in him, so I think I would expect Daka to come in and fill in, but not just yet. Probably towards the back end of the season.
Nice. So Gundogan and Daka for you, Joe.
I mean, just to add to Dhaka, I think when he came in, he was really quick, and I read it on quite a number of tweets that Dhaka is actually bought into sort of like to be Vardy's understudy.
Yeah.
So I would assume they would mold him to learn from Vardy, to get into those spaces, quick counter attacks, one shot, one shot, one goal, that kind of striker. So yeah, I think Dhaka is a really good shout. I mean, obviously, I think I mentioned Barnes. Probably, that will be one of mine. In fact, he's already in my team after yesterday's game.
Slotted it in straight away.
Yeah, I mean, he was in my watch list, but
yeah,
and I watched him, so I
makes sense. So it's Harvey Barnes and Dhaka for you, Joe.
Dhaka, wait and see.
Or not?
Okay. Dhaka is a wait and see for me. I mean, if you're talking about yesterday's game, I think besides Barnes, I'm not sure what any other player, to be honest.
Yeah.
Would you go near Grealish?
Probably not at the moment. But another player stands out to me was Ricardo Pereira yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's a good shout.
Yeah, 5.5 million. He was hampered with injury last season, and I think when he came back, it was a bit of a slow ride for him. He couldn't. I mean, he had his moments, but he couldn't repeat the form that he got before injury. But I think we will probably see the best of him again this season. Ricardo Pereira, he was playing really high up yesterday. Linked well with Perez. Just a shame. Jose Perez was a bit wasteful yesterday at times, but Pereira was really bombing that right flank. So yeah, I think Pereira will be another good choice, and he's also in 5.5 million, which is actually a really good bracket for defenders this season.
Yeah. Okay, Sophie, going to come to you. Quickly, just to wrap it up, 2 players that caught your eye yesterday, and then we'll move on to our value picks for each position.
Okay. At first, when you threw the question out, my pick in my mind was Harvey Barnes and also Gundogan. And then both of you guys have mentioned. And then quickly, I have a glimpse of Ricardo Pereira probing into the box, and then Jules just mentioned him. So I'm totally
so we're
out of option.
No worries. I mean
that's just to add on Gundogan. I think we learned that last season when KDB was out injured for I think about a month and a half. He was Gundogan. I mean, Gundogan was very attacking, probing into the box a lot, getting into the at the end of the lot of chances. So we probably could see something similar at the start of the season before KDB back fit and play the starting 11 again.
Okay, I'm surprised none of you mentioned James Maddison, because I thought there could be something there with him, but I think he might be a wait and see for most of us, and to see if he can recapture that form a couple seasons back.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing, and also he has a huge rumor surrounding him of the Arsenal move.
Arsenal, Okay.
I think with Maddison, his most of his goal involvements are very low XG chances that he scores.
So I'm about to mention that.
Free kicks and long shots.
Exactly. So I think it's to expect that consistently over a long period of time, like the season, like in a game like FPL, we look at players who like Bruno who just get those goals. You know what I mean? Like like. It's like those penalties, they give you points at the end of the day. So with Maddison, you expect a banger every time he's gonna score. It's probably gonna be a banger. So I don't think it's reasonable, and that's why it puts me off him as an FPL pick. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. All right, boys. That's the Community Shield and the Man City. Sorry, that's the Community Shield between Man City and Leicester City done. We've seen the players that caught the experts' eyes, but now we're going to dedicate the rest of the show to value picks and value picks of all the positions, from goalkeeper all the way to the forwards. We know the big plays. We know your Salahs, we know your Allisons, we know your Edisons. But where are you going to get the actual value for the 21-22 season? The boys have it, and we're going to start off with the goalkeepers. Now, there's been a lot of debate about the goalkeepers. I've seen Sanchez in a lot of teams. I've seen Meslier in a lot of teams. Martinez, obviously, with a little bit of a price increase this season after his great performance last season. But Prab, we're going to come straight to you now, and just talk us through the three goalkeepers. And it's important to remember these are the points that have been taken from last season coming into this season. Obviously, not enough data this season, so we're going to use the points per 90 from last season to assess the best in their positions.
Okay, I'll just go through what PPM stands for. PPM is points per million. So how many points they had divided by the cost this season. So one thing to note is the prices are for this season, so we can better gauge. Because if I were to use Martinez's prices from last season, it wouldn't really make sense, because he would just annihilate all everyone else on this list. So yeah, I think out of the three, definitely Martinez stands out. But I think one person that is overlooked and I think could prove to be good value this season is Meslier at 5 million with 30.8 points per million. That's only three off Martinez. And I think with Leeds towards the back end of last season, they showed up their defense quite a lot, quite significantly, and they kept 12 clean sheets last season. They brought now Firpo into left back. I don't think he'll offer that much defensively, but
I was just gonna say,
I think. But one thing is with Meslier, and I think with keepers in general, that we need to note for FPL. Yes, you want those picks that could tick on, that could get like 6 points per clean sheet. But one thing why Martinez stood out last season was Aston Villa faced so many shots, so he had to make so many saves. And I think with Leeds as well, given how attacking they are and given their style of play, I think Meslier will face a lot of shots as well, and he will have to make those saves, which will get you those bonus points, which will get him those extra save points. And on the third on the list is Guaita. But
I was going to come to Joe with that. I mean, Guaita, Joe. I think that's a name that none of us expected to see on that list, following on from Crystal Palace performances last season. But as Prab said, I mean, it's important to remember, this is points per million. And, when you have a slightly weaker defense in front of you, you're going to step up and you're going to be required to make more saves. And that is probably why Guaita is featured on this list.
Yep. So I mean, just to add what Prab says, why these players, firstly is yes, they face many shots, great shot stoppers, but we also look at the team in general, whether especially for Guaita, why is he there? I would say it's because generally, Crystal Palace last season, they don't score many goals. Can I say that? I think
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. So if a player, if a goalkeeper makes many saves, he racks up those BPS. Chances are, if they do keep a clean sheet and a 0-0, let's say, without scoring, chances are the goalkeeper will get the bonus points. So I think that was one of the reasons why Guaita is there. So if you want to look at goalkeepers, I besides looking at them being as great shot stoppers and porous defense, I think we need to look at the team's attack as well. Whether does does the team's goalkeeper tends to get more bonus points? So I think this is one aspect to look at for goalkeepers. I think Martinez last season was like one level above the rest.
Yeah.
I think there was a time Villa also sort of struggled to score, but Martinez stepped up.
Well, I mean, it wasn't too long ago where they resorted to Pepe Reina in goal. So Martinez is definitely an upgrade. And I mean, after his heroics, obviously in the Copa America, he's coming on the back of a very good season with Villa, on the back of great success with the national team. And it's important to remember that yes, while he may be about 30 years old, I think, this is probably his first full season that he's just had in terms of starting every match. And playing for his country, so I'm not too sure how the body takes that for someone who hasn't played that much football in his career to suddenly be kind of thrown into that limelight, not much rest, and he's already expected back to be in time for the for game week 1. So I mean, Sophie, I'm going to come to you on this. Do you think that might affect his performances this season? I mean, he's kind of gone on to a level where we didn't think he would last season. Can he better that for the price that we're paying for him this season?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I'm not sure how they keep up the fitness level of a goalkeeper, but if you're comparing to let's say a forward, of course he's going to have a problem adapting to the high level of competitive match. But I still think that he's going to be at least on par of how he left the season last season. I would like to add also on Meslier. I think at the back of last season, towards the end of last season, when Leeds United start to have their solid, the preferred back four, when Cooper start getting back fit, you can check the stats that they are actually not giving much big chances towards the opposition. So I would expect that the start of this season they will carry the same form, and he will rack up some save points. Maybe they can still miss a big chance, one or two in a match. So yeah, I think still give him a chance. We have a look on what happened to Leeds. On Guaita, I would like to keep the whole squad of Crystal Palace in my observation. I promised myself at the start of this season, I would like to give all players, all teams a clean slate, not judging them from what happened throughout last season, especially if they have additional players coming in, managers. So yeah, they are on the watch list.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good point. Especially with teams with new managers like Crystal Palace, you never know what Patrick Vieira, how he's going to set his team up, whether it's going to be more attacking, more defensive. So it could suit someone like Guaita at 4.5, or if you go down the cheaper options, in defense and midfield, there could be some real value there, which we may come on to in just a while. But sticking with the goalkeepers, boys, I'm going to ask you to name one goalkeeper which hasn't really featured in the top three. It's not Martinez, it's not Meslier, it's not Guaita. Which one, in terms of the game that we've seen so far, are you
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start with you first, Sophie.
I'm looking at him, waiting for his answer.
Okay, go on, Joe. Go on.
Bachmann.
Bachmann from Watford for you.
Yep.
Okay, and any reason behind that? I mean, he's at 4.5 million. Watford had a very impressive second half of the season when the new manager came in defensively. However, preseason hasn't gone to plan for them, and they have conceded quite a few goals.
Yeah, I've if I'm not mistaken, the Watford last season in the Championship, they set a league record of defensive record of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So credit to the manager. I think credit to the team. They probably found the right formula in the defense. There wasn't any like one super outstanding player. It's just the whole system works for them last season. And yeah, I've also looked at their preseason record so far. Pretty appalling, pretty concerning as a Bachmann owner. But I think most of the Watford fans they are still confident because I think in the preseason they didn't have that exact same team back yet, and I think they preseason managers tinker here and there, give all players a chance to play. But I would see, I would say once they get back their first team players, especially in the defense, their stats, I think they would improve from the preseason. It's important. I think in this kind of system plays, it's important to get the players that know, that they are familiar with the system. Not just individual brilliance, but as a team, they know what's going on and they know what to do. So, still, yes, preseason was concerning, but still fairly confident of holding on to Bachmann for me.
Okay, and
can I add something on that?
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for your pick, really. now that Joe's gone.
My pick, I pick the same goalkeeper as Joe. I just want to add that don't really think too much on the result of preseason. I experienced this firsthand last season when I watched a lot of preseason and then judging player systems, and then I end up picking Dele Alli in game week 1. So
the old Dele Alli trap.
Yeah, he looked really good throughout the preseason. Playing,
I was a victim of that too.
Scoring a lot of like 4 goals, I think.
All of us.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That's it, man. Don't think too much about the preseason result.
Okay, so just to confirm, both of you are on Bachmann, yeah, from Watford.
Yeah.
As your value goalkeeper pick, okay? Prab, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to pray and hope that this is going to be a little bit different from the two of them. But who is your value goalkeeper for this coming season?
I'm gonna hold my hands up and say I do have Bachmann in my team right now. I think it's very easy to go with someone that's very reliable, like Sanchez, right? I think he would be the other one that everyone has their eye on. If it's not Bachmann, it's Sanchez. You know what I mean? But I think for Brighton,
4.5 million bracket, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, generally among goalkeepers this season, most of us resort to 4.5 million bracket, so we can distribute the funds across the team. But I think with Sanchez, given Brighton's defense last season, I think if I'm not mistaken, if we ranked them from defense, I think they were the 3rd best in the league behind City and Chelsea, or 3rd or 4th best. And I think in terms of if you want someone who will tick on, Brighton did not concede that many chances. That's another thing to note. So if you want someone that's explosive in terms of goalkeepers, you would probably go with the likes of Bachmann or Meslier. But if you want someone to get you those 6 pointers, get those clean sheets in, clean sheets in, I think I would say Sanchez, given his fixtures to start the season as well.
Okay. So Sanchez and Backman, the standout picks, apart from the three that we have on our screens right now. That's the goalkeeper section wrapped up. We're going to check out the value defenders for the coming season. And yeah, as we have it on our screen there, Aaron Cresswell, Matt Targett, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It's very important to point out as well. I think a few of you are wondering, how did Stuart Dallas not make that list? And the reason why he's not on that list is because this season he's going to be listed as a midfielder for the FPL game. So he doesn't feature in that list. Sorry, please excuse the noise in the background. I'm not sure whose that is again. But Cresswell, Targett, and Wan-Bissaka from last season were the main ones. If we include Stuart Dallas in that, he obviously goes to the top of that. I have no doubt about that. But for this season, he'll be listed as a midfielder. So, Joe, talk us through Aaron Cresswell. I mean, playing that left back role. I mean, he's got a hell of a left foot on him, and especially when you have options like Antonio and Thomas Souček running into the box. I mean, it's every striker's dream to have someone like Aaron Cresswell, crossing that ball in, and likewise as a attacking fullback, putting those balls into the box. You're just hoping that someone can get to the end of that, and West Ham have that now.
Yep. I have a confession to make. Last season, I never had Cresswell even once. I just somehow he just went under my nose. Every time I consider getting him, then I'll probably be distracted and go for someone else. But I think West Ham, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't recruit much except Areola on loan. Others, I don't think that there isn't any significant transfers coming in, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So yeah. I would assume David Moyes would probably want to stick to the system, which Cresswell thrived in last season. So I can see that he will continue, doing bits, so to speak. Whether set pieces, will he share set pieces with other players such as Benrahma or
Bowen?
Bowen, if Bowen and Benrahma features much more than last season, I think it's still a wait and see. But I think Cresswell this season at 5.5 is still a very good defender to go for. Not just because of West Ham's defense, but also because of his attacking output. And you have like you say, Souček is still in West Ham, still probably want to do better this season. Antonio still fit, still going crazy in pre-season. So those targets for Cresswell are still in the team. Yeah. So I can still see him doing well this coming season. So yeah, he's a great shout for the starting of the season.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Prav, I'm going to come to you for Matt Targett. Now, we spoke about Martinez, and the standout season that he had last year, and Matt Targett had a big role to play in that. Being part of that Villa defense. But he offered something further up the field as well. He really got down that left-hand side. And similarly to Cresswell, when you have someone like Watkins in there and yes, maybe Jack Grealish kind of gave him that space by coming off the left-hand side at times. But, is Matt Targett at 5 million this season real good value pick?
I would unfortunately say not, because towards the tail end of last season, I think the Villa defense, they looked good from the start. I think everyone was on Melia and Targett for a while. There was a period of time that there was a double up in defense. But I think the amount of chances conceded throughout the season became, and it leveled out towards the end, and they started conceding a lot more goals. But one thing to note with Targett is Grealish, like you mentioned, Grealish played a lot a big role in his game, because Grealish off the left would cut in and probably, we could say, take those inverted forward positions, which allowed him to bomb forward. But I think this season it looks like someone like Ollie Watkins or
Yeah.
Leon Bailey or someone, one of those
Danny
are
Ings.
likely to. I mean, it depends if Villa resort to a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 with Watkins on the left, or
Yeah.
if Watkins partners
Okay.
Danny Ings up top. So I would say it's a wait and see. I still am quite speculative on the 5 million bracket for the defenders. The only pick I like, I think, would be Kufal, and I think in my opinion, he is a better pick this season than Aaron Cresswell.
Okay.
Just putting it out there.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right, big words there by Prab. Sophie, I'm going to come to you for Aaron Wan-Bissaka now. We know what he offers defensively, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Most of his points are usually gathered from clean sheets, rather than getting an assist or scoring a goal. But we can't ignore the fact that Raphael Varane is on his way to Old Trafford. How much of a difference, or how much more value, does signing someone like Raphael Varane add to someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka?
Varane, I think he's already at Carrington, is it?
He's in Manchester. He's in self-quarantine.
Yeah.
So
I almost forget that we are living in the pandemic right now.
So how much? I mean, in terms of value, like how much would that signing, be for someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka from an FPL point of view?
I think it will definitely boost the confidence, first and foremost, the confidence of Man United back four, and also the whole team. For the fullback, I think having a solid and experienced centre back, they will have a more confident going forward. Just to compare between Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka is actually scoring more points than Luke Shaw last season. So it's a bit of a surprise. And then after looking back at the statistic and all the scoring throughout the season, so two main things that I can get for Wan-Bissaka, first and foremost, he didn't easily get injured. So, and also he's very fit, playing throughout the season, not really missing out on the first team so much, and also less prone to rotation when we get into the Champions League round. So managers will start to rotate, especially fullbacks, because they utilize more energy playing throughout 90 minutes. Just to add on Matt Target, because I owned him last season, I think at the start until probably like 12 game weeks like that. So I do watch him a lot. Most of his points and assists came from link-up play between him and Grealish on the left side. So not having Grealish, I think, will probably impact his output, especially attacking output. But then they do. Villa will probably change the system after the inclusion of a lot of good players. So yeah, we wait and see on what happened for Aston Villa.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Wan-Bissaka and Varane and all that, but now let's get into the value picks. These, obviously, if you're just joining us, are based on the points per million from what they scored last season. But now with the new signings and new promoted players, who are you guys picking? If I asked you for one pick for that value pick in the defense, Joe?
I would probably be the template person here. I'll probably say Shaw.
Okay, you go with Luke Shaw. I mean, I think I've seen lots of drafts on Twitter within the FPL community, and I think 95 of them, I'd safely say, feature Luke Shaw.
I think yesterday I saw Props tweet regarding, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, that they have a new set piece coach, United.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
they do, and they scored from one last night as well.
Yeah. So and Luke Shaw takes the corners too.
I mean,
Was it?
Fernandez free kick and Maguire.
I mean, I'm not going to count Fernandez free kick down to the set piece specialist coach, but yeah, you get what I mean.
but yeah, I can see Luke Shaw doing more this season.
Yeah.
As he gains
continuing his form from the Euros as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. And with a new set piece coach, Luke Shaw. I mean, if you want me to give a non-template, probably Firpo is on my mind.
Okay, from Leeds.
At 5 million, we all know how attacking Leeds are, and I think in preseason Firpo had an assist, and the fans love him. So good feedback by the fans so far, and at 5 million, he might be the dark horse, so to say, in terms of value defenders.
Okay, and Probs, what about you? Who would be your pick outside of these three?
I would just add on Luke Shaw. I think United's they're gonna expect to switch to a 4-3-3, and with Pogba, if Pogba stays, hopefully he does, but with Pogba and Bruno occupying the two free eights, and that will see Pogba getting into the box a lot more, and that could impact Shaw's output as well, because having more people in the box equals more people that he, you know what I mean, from the left. And I think Sancho holding his width will allow that as well. And we've seen Pogba score those headed goals, and with Cavani to come back, I think Shaw could be like one of the top, I think if not the top scoring defender behind Trent this season. But for mine, I would back myself, as I said earlier, with the Sofal shout. I think he would be my value pick. He's in my team right now.
Okay, yeah.
And his output was last season. I think a lot of people had an eye on him and had him because of his 4.5 million price. But I think even at 5 million, given West Ham's defensive capabilities, if they keep Declan Rice, I think that's one of the major points as well.
Well, I think there's no danger of that now, right? I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But
I mean, he's definitely staying there.
Happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that one thing that goes unnoticed with Sofal is his attacking output. I think he managed something like 9 assists last season. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone do a fact.
But it was also his threat. His threat from when he was attacking. He came close. I mean, the amount of West Ham games I watched, and he came close to scoring, whether it was hitting the post, whether it was just inches wide. I mean, there is some good output there, and he loves to be in and around the penalty box. Okay, so you've got
just to add, sorry, 9 assists last season.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sofal for you, Probs.
Yes.
And then Sophie, we're going to come to you.
Yeah, my personal pick would be Firpo. I watch him in preseason. He's very good, very attacking. But for the sake of this show, I would suggest I would like to suggest the guy who should have won Golden Boot last season. If they introduce a Golden Boot for defenders, this is the guy, Lewis Dunk, who scored the most goal for defender, 5 goals. Last season. He's very, very good in the air, very commanding, good in aerial duels. And the way Brighton playing last season, the way they played last season, they're going to get a lot of set pieces from dribbles from the guy like Trossard and also Welbeck. So I think he's going to be one of the value pick for defenders this season.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about that price bracket, I think the 4.5 to about 5.5. I mean, there's some real quality in that bracket, isn't it? I mean, we talk about Lewis Dunk and Ben White has obviously moved to Arsenal. He's at 4.5 in that Arsenal defense now. That's could potentially be some crazy value in that. That 4.5 million to 5.5 million, I think, just has some great picks in there for every FP. I mean, we haven't even talked about Luca Dino yet. I know Everton lost 4-0 yesterday, but I mean, no one's even mentioned him.
That's you.
Yeah, but I mean, I know how much he's burnt us over the years.
I mean, out of my team. Trade swap, so far in, Digne out.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday obviously didn't help, but when you look at Everton's fixtures for the first 6 games, I mean, you're talking about Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley, Villa, Norwich, and then they have United. But then after that, it's West Ham, Watford, Wolves. I mean, it's decent, isn't it? I mean, for someone like Luca Digne who gets forward, and he did yesterday as well against Man United, should have got an assist. I think it was Iwobi who poked it on, but I mean, there is some threat from Luca Digne, don't you think?
I mean, I didn't exactly watch the match, but I saw tweets and the highlights. He did. I mean, firstly, he lost. Sort of lost corner kicks to Andros Townsend. Whether other set pieces like direct free kicks or indirect free kicks, we yet to know. And he I think yesterday he did whip in a few good crosses, but the problem is it's just who's going to be the back end of those crosses right now. That's the problem, because DCL is out at the moment. There's no news when he is back fit again. Yesterday, Keane was nowhere to be seen. I'm not sure what's happening. What sounds that?
Yeah. It's just me at work. Don't worry.
So I mean he I don't think he can do much on his own, without DCL, which puts me off a little bit. But yeah, no doubt his quality is there. It's just that I'm just worried that the defense or the team or even Pickford would disappoint him.
As he did yesterday. All right. So just to recap, Prabs, you're going with?
Sorry, was that? Were you coming to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So far would be my pick.
So far's your pick, Joe. Shaw and Sophie Firpo.
Yeah, Lewis Dunk.
Lewis Dunk. Sorry. There we go. But Firpo, is a name that you boys mentioned to look out for. He didn't start last night for Leeds, but we expect him to be the starting left back for Leeds this season, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to midfielders, and now this is where it gets a little bit tasty. This is where most of your points are going to be won this season. That and the forward line, obviously. But, I mean, we were talking about value. I mean, just off air before we came on and recorded this, I think Joe, myself, and Prabs were having a real discussion, and we mentioned, that there are certain players, within that 6 million to 7 million bracket who are quite appealing to us. Prabs, I'm going to start with you here. We've got Harrison, we've got Souček, obviously, during that period where everything just seemed to go in for him. And we got JWP, Ward-Prowse, the king of set pieces. Take it away.
I would say one person that obviously stands out because he has the most points per million would be Harrison. Even this season, I think he could prove to be value because of his price tag, and I still feel This is my personal opinion, and I'm not an FPL expert, so don't hold me on this. But I still feel Rafinha is undroppable for me because I feel he's that criminally underpriced that
Yep.
he goes into my team by default. And but the one thing to note is Harrison took a lot of corners last season from the left. I don't think Rafinha takes them from the left.
Mm-hmm.
um, he was bombing down the left wing, and he got into a lot of goal scoring positions
Yep.
due to because Leeds flood a lot, like one side a lot. So when they attack um, by flooding one side of the pitch, and most of the time because of Dallas who played at left back and sometimes in the left midfield, they would resort to going to that position, which meant Harrison's was more involved. But I think at 6 million, I would still advise if you were going to go for Leeds, it would be Rafinha or even Bamford. But I think someone to keep an eye on for sure.
Mm. Yeah, agreed. I can echo like what you say. Leads flooding on one side because like I think Harrison gets into good positions because quite often, if I'm not mistaken, Leeds they flood their attack through Rafinha on the right,
Yes.
and then leaving Harrison with lots of space,
Yeah.
and get into good positions, and then sometimes the cross will just will just miss everyone, and suddenly Harrison is there
Yeah,
end
at
of
the back
ball.
post.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
suddenly he's in the penalty box with the ball, and yeah, he gets into good scoring positions. Um, and 6 million, 6 million is a really good price for
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
of his caliber.
Yeah, and something I would like to add for both Harrison and Rafinha, you have to look out for Rodrigo. I think he's a very, very good feeder from the deep position. Excellent delivery. As always, look out for the wide players, both wing Harrison and Rafinha. I think if we keep on getting in the starting 11, both of the Rafinha and Harrison would be excellent pick for this season.
Yeah, I think a lot of drafts as well that I've looked at. Rafinha features prominently in them, but not so much Jack Harrison. I think he's got very low ownership coming
Yeah.
into this game week one. I mean, that could obviously change in the next few days, but as of now, as we're recording, looking at his ownership, it's not too high, and like you say, for that kind of price point and the returns that he got last season, he could be one that everyone's kind of overlooking, and because everyone's going towards Rafinha, and you don't want two leads as well. All right, I mean, now it's that time we talk about that man, Thomas Souček. I mean, what a season he had in terms of goal scoring, but that didn't really continue throughout the season, did it?
Yeah, I still remember at the start where he was only 5 million, and everybody didn't expect him to score, and he caused a lot of misery for those who bench him. and
Yeah,
and,
me.
and a lot. I mean, there are times where players get really lucky by subbing him on to get his points and things like that. I didn't. I think I didn't own Souček as well last season, or maybe I only own like 1 or 2 weeks. I can't recall. But yeah, can't recall what exactly changed.
For Souček,
That
so
makes
he's
Souček's output reduced.
Lingard.
Ah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
So basically, Souček started playing, a more defensive defensive midfielder role. I mean, I think he was more box to box before
Yeah.
Lingard came,
Yeah,
and then they added Lingard to that, and then obviously with Lingard being attacking and playing more in the final third than that, Souček had to kind of restrain himself and sit back, and then after that, you're kind of just depending on set pieces.
Yeah, yeah. So where will how will he play this season? I don't think we have the answer at the moment. Like Benrahma is such great form at the moment. Will Benrahma fill that hole left by Lingard? If he does, then Souček will probably be be that player that we saw in the second half of last season again. So and now he's not 5 million anymore; it's 6 million.
Yeah.
And you have other players at 6 million, which might be more attractive as compared to Suchek. I think some players I can think of is of course Panorama is also 6 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Sa is 6 million, and then we have Harrison.
Yeah.
So probably not for me at the moment, unless he gets back to his attacking position that we saw first half of last season.
Guys, all of this discussion will probably went throughout the window when Lukaku and then we start looking at Suchek for our fourth or third midfielder.
We know that. Okay, so we've got covered Suchek, James Ward-Prowse. Now, Prabs, I'm going to come to you with this. Obviously, a big blow to the Saints coming into the season, losing someone like Danny Ings. Does this affect James Ward-Prowse?
I would like to say it affects the style of play because they don't have anyone as prominent to hit. Because every time they would attack or transition, they would hit Ings, who would hold it up, or for Adams, and that's how they would break. And Ings won a lot of fouls as well, and JWP thrives in set pieces, and I think he got most of his points from corners or free kicks, or even indirect ones. So for me, with JWP, I think at his price, 6.5 million, like we said before, I think Rafinha is like a way better shout. We'll probably name more after this, but I think
I was just gonna say.
yeah, for JWP, I think in terms of the Saints, it would be a wait and see on how they adapt to life after Ings, if that becomes a thing.
Guys, are they looking at any players, Southampton? Are there any rumors?
I mean, I expect them to go out and get a striker. I think that's got to be a priority for them now.
How much they sell Ings?
25 to 30.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I heard a rumor of Adam Armstrong from Blackburn.
Yeah, I've seen him linked with a few teams, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he got that. I think there could be a bit of movement with Tammy Abraham. I don't know where he's going, but I mean, I think that if I was Southampton, I'll try and get him on loan for a year or something like that. Especially when you got Lukaku going towards Chelsea. So I don't know. I mean, they definitely need a striker. But in terms of James Ward-Prowse, I think he's obviously fantastic from set pieces, free kicks in particular, in and around the area. But we have to remember as well that there's still from corners and free kicks from wide areas. You still got the likes of Bednarek in there. Giants, Vestergaard. Yeah, that could be at the end of those. So there could still be some value in that, but as well, we don't know how the Saints are going to line up coming into this season. All right, we spoke about the potential prospects for this kind of price range, the value area, 6 to about 7 million, I would say. And surprisingly, for once, I actually think it's a good bracket this season. I think sometimes we're kind of starved, maybe players overpriced and things like that. But I actually like this. I'm looking at this, and yes, there could be a few kind of picks where we don't know too much about. But someone like Leon Bailey, for instance. We've seen him in the Bundesliga. What a player he is! But can he replicate that? In the Premier League is another question. But Sophie, who's caught your eye? Other than these three?
My obvious pick would be Smith Rowe.
Yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah.
I watched a couple of preseason Arsenal. He play in number 10 role in all of those games. So I think if Arsenal didn't buy anyone, any attacking player, he will be probably mostly 90% nailed on to start. And also, the most important thing is that they have a very good support system around him. Aubameyang, Lacazette, and also Pepe, all of those guys who excellent player, can score, can shoot from out of the box, even from a simple pass. So I think he definitely want to watch at the start of the season until Arsenal fixtures get better, probably somewhere in week 5, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, so this is my pick.
Okay, Joe, who's your pick? I mean, I know this is an area that you've kind of looked at and in a little bit more detail, and there's a couple of guys that you've mentioned before that has caught your eye.
Yeah, Smith Rowe is one of them that I wanted to mention. I think five. I mean, if you're looking at value, points per million, a nail on Smith Rowe is just off the roof. You know, his PPM I think will probably be one of the highest. Benrahma.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to say that.
Great preseason so far, so crazy. You know, I think he I don't know. Like,
he had 2 assists yesterday.
Yeah, and I think he scored so far. I mean West Ham is crazy so far this preseason. I think if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere they scored like 16 goals in 7 games or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like Antonio and Benrahma, both they're like, you know, so they have good chemistry in preseason so far. So Benrahma is probably the first player that I would mention at 6 million. Going to the season. I mean Barnes, yes, you know, we mentioned Barnes before. But I think Bundia is also another one that is. I mean,
just on Bundia, sorry. I mean, he's another example of, you know, was fantastic last season in the Championship. I think he was the best player in the Championship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Got that big move. I mean, although Norwich got promoted, got that big move up to with Villa. But, you know, can he replicate that kind of form, you know, in the Premier League? And we've actually got a bit of data on him because he did play for Norwich a couple of seasons ago in the Premier League. And I mean, they weren't the best, were they?
Yeah, I mean, before they got relegated, you know, in terms of underlying stats, Bundia in the Premier League, I think his chances creation were actually really high. It's just that the team as a whole probably, you know, couldn't finish the chances that he created. But this season in Villa, who knows? You know, with Ings, with Watkins, even Bailey, you know, 4 of them, I can see good things happening. So Bundia is. I mean, we all know how quality Ings is. He don't need that many big chances, and he's so clinical. He has a great finishing. So now, you know, Bundia has people like Ings to provide those chances for, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a Villa game where he assists twice to Watkins, who scored 2 goals as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we can doubt his quality. I still think that he will continue what he does best, which is chances creation. It's just that whether Ings and Watkins can develop that bond with Bundia to finish off those chances. I think they will. It's just when you know, will they hit the ground running? We just have to wait and see.
Okay, and Probs, what about you?
I would say Barnes, but I'm probably gonna go with Ismail Assar. I think at 6 million, pretty good shout. I had him in a few drafts, but I think Watford resorted to 4-4-2 formation yesterday, and that put me off a bit because they struggled with that last season, and because they're going with two strikers up front. I can't remember their names, but so with
Josh
Sa, I
King.
think he got yes, and
Yeah.
Chuko Martinez,
Dini
like
played. He scored yesterday, right? But I think João
Yeah.
Pedro would be the other, maybe.
they have like 10 strikers listed on FPL,
Yeah.
so any one of them could start up front. So
I'm not
but
sure if
with-
Andre Gray's still there. I think he's left,
He
but
is-
he's listed. He's listed on
he's
his,
listed.
or he's leaving or something like that. But yeah, he's
Mhm.
listed on there.
Yeah, with Sa, I think he's more of a goal scoring threat than someone like Bundia. He managed like 13 goals, if I'm not mistaken. Another fact check required, I think, in the championship last season. And I think one key aspect of FPL that I managed to develop, and when I'm choosing my players, is going for the talisman of the team. So
Yeah.
when we look at Watford, one player that stands out and the player that they want to get the ball to, that those players know that will get the job done, is Ismail Assar. And it's nothing to do with stats, but this point is I was watching one of Ben Foster's vlogs, and whenever the question came up, which player that he rated the most, and it was always Ismail Assar, and it was always like no competition, and that shows how much trust they have
Yep.
in him to deliver. And I think with Watford's fixtures to start the season, I think there's a pretty good chance he hits the ground running. Again, I would say a good switch would be starting with Buendia, given his fixture still game week 3, and then maybe make the switch game week 4 to Ismail Assar. But yeah, all in all, Ismail Assar is my pick.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean, coming into that, Watford haven't been great during preseason, but the fixtures are pretty decent. Coming in the first 7 game weeks, maybe. I think they've got about 5 to 6 really good fixtures that you'd say, okay, yeah, maybe I can see them. But I mean, is it worth pointing out? I mean, it's something that we stressed on when we were talking about Bachmann earlier on in the goalkeeper section. Are Watford going to be a defensive-minded team rather than an attacking team? I mean, that's a very important question, I think.
That's one of the reasons I kind of took him out of my draft, because when they resort to the 4-4-2, Ismail Assar is best when they switch to a 4-3-3, coming in from the right or left wing. But in a 4-4-2, he would have a lot more defensive duties and probably given less freedom to express himself. So I think Watford in general were a defensive-minded team. I would classify them as a defensive-minded team. Okay. But the only thing with that is, with someone like with Ismail Assar, he can make something out of nothing given his pace. So there are pros and cons. I think you need to balance it out and
weigh them up.
Weigh them up, I guess.
Okay, so we've got Sophie, you're picking Emil Smith Rowe. Joe, you're picking Buendia. And
Benrahma.
Benrahma. And Prabs, you're obviously picking Ismail Assar. No one fancying Leon Bailey.
Not yet, probably.
Wow, I actually thought one of you would actually mention him. I didn't expect Buendia to be ahead of Leon Bailey, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But yeah, I mean, all great shouts aside of the 3 that you see on your screen in Harrison, Souček, Ward-Prowse. Don't forget Saka. I know he's just back from the Euros, but he's one that we've failed to mention. Obviously, Rafinha was touched upon, and I think he's probably like more of a go-to than Harrison would be in your draft, but a 0.5 million more expensive, it has to be said. But that is such a good bracket. I mean, I could go on this for another 10, 15 minutes, but I do want to move on to the forwards because that's where it gets a little bit more tougher, I'd say. But I mean, that price bracket is really good for this season, and I really feel there's going to be quite a lot of value in the defense and midfielders this season, more so than other seasons. All right, we're going to move on to the forward line and the strikers, and this is usually where the money is. This is where seasons are won and lost, and I mean, we look at the value, and again, this is the data taken from last season, and it's points per million. Patrick Bamford, no surprise to see him on that list, alongside Watkins and Calvert-Lewin. I think, if I give you three strikers at the start of this, I think you guys would have probably picked these three as well. But I mean, those are mid-price strikers that they were last season. They are coming into this, they're not overly priced. They're not overpriced as well, to be fair. So you can still easily get to these three. Sophie, I'm going to start with you. Joe, I'm going to start with you just before you go, because I know you have to leave in the next 5 minutes.
So sorry.
No worries. So we'll just let you finish off with the forwards, and then obviously you can go on for your family engagement. But yeah, Patrick Bamford. I mean, we spoke about Leeds. We spoke about Firpo, as a good pick. But from an attacking point of view, Harrison and Rafinha were mentioned not too long ago. But the focal point of that attack is Patrick Bamford, and he surprised a lot of us last season. Yep. How will his minutes be affected with Rodrigo? I mean, towards the end of last season, Rodrigo started coming on and scored a few goals. How will this affect Patrick Bamford going into this season?
If you ask me, I still think Bamford is nailed to start, nailed to finish the matches. I think if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that the Biel, I mean somebody comment about Bamford risk in limited minutes and things like that. But I think Bielsa mentioned that it was his decision to give Bamford a little rest bits here and there. So that's how he valued Bamford. And so far, I think Bamford started, the pre-season really well as well. I think he scored like 2 goals, 2 or 3, fact check. I think 2, at least 2. And I still can see, at 8 million, probably not a striker that we want to start the season with, considering Leeds fixtures. But we know Leeds, they can turn up against any team. But I think because the fact that he's 8 million now, he's a totally different bracket compared to last season where he started at 5.5. You can't imagine that last season he actually started at 5.5. So yeah, for me, if you look at 8 million, there are so many other players within that bracket. If you look at Antonio, Wilson, Watkins, Jimenez. DCL currently injured. We have Ings at 8 million as well. So I think we can we can say safely that maybe some point of the season we will own Bamford, but probably not from game week 1. Yeah, you get what I mean. But I can still see him doing well because he has this instinct to get into really good positions to be in a position of receiving those big chances, that the rest of the teams create. I can still see him doing what he does best, even though he is at 8 million.
Okay, just before you leave us, Joe, give us your value striker apart from these three.
Tony.
Tony from Brentford. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just reading some of his interviews of the preseason before his first game, he has great mentality. He's so confident. He really wants to take the Premier League by storm. He not just to survive, but he wants to make a statement in the Premier League to all the clubs. So just based on that mentality alone, confidence is. Yes, we know he has the technical ability, but confidence is not something that every player has, and usually it is confidence that drives or produce those moments of brilliance. So his confidence is what I am
looking at.
He was he had a slight knock yesterday. Training. So but I think I read reports that he's probably fit to start. Most probably
Next
fit
week.
to start against Arsenal. You know,
I will say that they've got a decent first 5 games, and then it gets quite tricky for Brentford. And they do open the season against Arsenal. They play on the Friday night.
Yep.
So we always talk about these players that play early. We're always skeptical to kind of back them and throw the armband on them at least. But yeah, I mean, it could be real value, Tony. And then there's a lot of talk about him ahead of this season. That he was linked to a lot of Premier League clubs last season, even so this season. But he's stuck with Brentford, and I'm really excited to see them. So your value pick is Ivan Toney, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, Joe, I know you have to leave us. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of you as the season goes on, and maybe even next weekend. As always, do follow him on Twitter, Joe FPL.
Okay, thanks guys. Good to be here. I think see you real soon before the game week 1.
Definitely.
Take care.
Ciao. All right, Sophie, we're going to go with you on Ollie Watkins. And, Ollie Watkins, I mean, what can you say about him? Ex-Brentford boy as well. But now he's got a bit of competition on his hands. Danny Ings has joined him at Villa. Where does that leave Ollie Watkins coming into this season?
I think it's a very tricky situation with Aston Villa, I said, not just for the forwards, for the whole team in general, because there's a bit of rumors or fans discussion where they will probably explore the possibility of playing with 2 up top, and also maybe with Watkins out wide on the left. So I think as for now, maybe we shouldn't really get in so much with Watkins. Ings, on the other hand, I still believe on his ability, whether he will play behind a top striker or centrally as a top striker. He's still a very, very good finisher, whether it's a chance from 6 yards or outside the box. I mean, he's exceptional. So I think the safer pick will be Ings if you want to go to Aston Villa. Watkins, perhaps we should give 2 or 3 matches, and then we see how they develop with a new system, new players.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those where we still haven't seen. I mean, we know Buendia is definitely going to feature. He's had a cracking preseason.
And also, I would like to add. I think they will have one preseason match later tonight, around 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Probably it's good to watch.
Yeah, so we'll get a better idea now that someone like Danny Ings, who's had a preseason behind him, mind you, so he can go straight into that. Ollie Watkins, Buendia, and Leon Bailey might even feature.
Yeah.
So we'll get a better idea of how Villa will probably line up for that first game week of the season. DCL Probs, DCLs Probs, talk to me. I mean, missed yesterday's game, but what a season he had last year under Ancelotti. He really stepped up, improved his game, got himself into the England squad for the Euros. How are Everton going to line up? Now Ancelotti's gone. They've got Rafa Benitez in charge. Are they still going to be the same kind of creative side? I mean, James Rodriguez didn't play yesterday. They've gone out. They bought Damari Gray. They bought Townsend. So that's, balls into the box for you. Is DCL still a decent pick or value pick for this coming season?
I would say last season he had, like every striker has, like a real uproar in form, and then his form dipped slightly towards the middle. And I think you can expect a lot of the same. We can expect Everton to go on a run when they find their feet under Benitez, because I feel one thing Benitez does to teams is that he shows them up so much that they can use that foundation to build forward. And I think I expect them to play on the counter a lot, given the wingers that they signed in Gray and Townsend, and they still have Richarlison to come back. And DCL being the focal point of that team, on the receiving end of crosses from Luka Dean, like we mentioned before,
Mm.
as well. I see him getting he got I think 16 goals in the Prem last season. I expect him to match that or even surpass that maybe by a goal or two. And given his price this season, even priced at 8 million, he comes third on the list, with his points per million amounting to 20.6, which says a lot. Which
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, he stepped up last season. So it's still a wait and see for me, because of his injury. But I expect Calvert Lewin to be in all three of our teams at one point this season.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. I mean, Everton have decent fixtures as well,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't know how worried we have to be. I've got Lucadinho in my team, and after seeing them try and defend last night, I'm not sure how much we need to look into that. But it wasn't a pretty sight, and the attacking return, I suppose, is what it's about when you're considering them. Calvert-Lewin obviously had a toe injury. I'm not too sure how serious that is, and if it's enough to keep him out of next week. But okay, that's the three: Bamford, Watkins, and Calvert-Lewin, based on last season. What about this season? Who have we not mentioned? I know Joe's obviously mentioned Tony, and again, another player stepping up from the Championship. But Sophie, who are you backing out of these three?
I think Shea Adam could be a very good pick. But then again, we have to see how Southampton, how they adapt after losing Ings. But if we take into consideration what happened last season, when Ings got injured in a couple of games, Shea Adam actually stepped up to be a focal point for their attacking play. So I think he could be the one that we put in our watch list. Maybe we watch throughout the season how he developed being a focal point at Southampton attack.
Okay, that's a decent shot. I wasn't expecting that, to be fair, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Probs, who are you backing? We've got Tony, we've got Che Adams. Who are you picking outside of these three?
I would say Antonio. It's a well-known thing that Antonio probably will get injured at some point in this season. And,
his hamstring didn't agree with that.
Exactly. but even then, I still back him because of the amount of chances that West Ham create, and also the fixtures to start the season. I think he could prove to be real value, especially to start with, because he gets into the right positions all the time, and that's what you want with your strikers. As likewise with DCL, he's there to finish those those high percentage. Like, they're very likely to score, and he does it. And I feel like Antonio is a reliable pick, of course, unless he pulls his hamstring again. But I feel that he only got like 10 goals last season. I think he'll get easily 15, if not higher, this season. And I would like to give like a few mentions. I think possibilities that could happen, and some strikers that could prove to be value. I think Brighton have been linked to Edouard from Celtic.
I believe that's close to being done.
And if I think if Brighton, because they had one of the highest XGs last season, and they just didn't have someone to convert those. And if Edouard, because I've watched some Celtic, and I've also played Football Manager, and I think Edouard
he's a good finisher.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what Brighton need, and as well as Tammy Abraham, if he gets his move within the Prem, to someone like West Ham or like Brighton or one of those teams, I think he could prove to be valued at 6.5 million.
I don't disagree with that. So definitely, it's another bracket where there are quite a few options out there, and it's all about that first game week though, and the options are plenty. So Tony, Che Adams, and Mikhail Antonio are the picks outside of Bamford, Watkins, and Calvert-Lewin. Boys, brings us to the end of the show. No. We've got another announcement to make. We do have a special Malaysian residents only FPL Super League that I have to say. We've got prizes up for grabs that has actually been finalized. It's a classic FPL league for the whole season, and the top 10 after game week 18 will represent Malaysia against Singapore for the first ever Causeway Cup. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Mariner is behind the Singapore league. I could be wrong here, but we will be having a Causeway FPL battle, which I'm sure all you Malaysians or Malaysian-based FPL managers will be looking forward towards. Some of the prizes that we have up for grabs. For first prize, if you win, we've got Fantasy Football Hub subscription free. We've got a 100 ringgit voucher from Vin's Restaurant in TDI in KL. We've got a Premier FPL Tools subscription, as well as a Twitter profile pic done by @FPL Doodles. So a lot of prizes to be won for first, second, and third. Make sure you join in. We've got over 300 entries already. So do add your name. The code is on the screen. We will tweet it out later and try and get even more people behind this. But please do join the first ever Malaysian FPL Super League to stand a chance, to battle your Singapore counterparts. I mean, what's better than the Malaysia versus Singapore battle? I mean, we all love it, don't we? So why not bring that to the FPL as well? Boys, what a first show it's been for the season. Prabs, I know you made your debut. Hope you enjoyed it. We've definitely enjoyed having you on here, and can't wait to see a lot more of you as the season goes on.
For sure. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure discussing FPL, gaining a lot of insights, different perspectives, and I think I'll probably be doing a lot more tinkering tonight.
Yes, tinker. Less, was it about 5 days to go? So we're nearly there, boys. We're nearly there. Sophie, it's so good to have you back. I mean, we started off well last season, then life kind of got in the way, which I totally understand. It always comes first. But now I'm glad you're settled into your role as a dad, and I'm sure everything's going well for you. But yeah, just looking forward to having you back on the show, and one of the first few people that started FPL Expectations with me. So definitely happy to have you back on the show.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that for this Malaysian FPL Super League, you need to complete your 2 doses of vaccine to qualify for this league. I'm just joking. That's a message to all Malaysians. Please get your jab. Please. I need to go out to work.
Yes, and I definitely second that. Boys, thank you. It's been such a great show. And yes, that's our first episode for the 21-22 season. It's only 5 days to go. Go away and tinker. Take on board what the boys have said. Please do follow the boys. It's @FPL Sings for Probs. It's @Philosophy for Sophie. And it's @Joe FPL for Joe. And please don't forget to follow me @CraigMorias11, as well as the channel FPL Expectations on Twitter. If you're here watching this right now, please do subscribe to us down below and hit that notification bell, and so you get notified every time we upload content. That's all for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to be getting a lot more content out as the season goes on, and definitely before game week 1. From me, Craig, that's all the time we have for. Enjoy, and like I said, tinker safe.